Welcome to AwakeningYOU channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Dear sons and daughters of planet Earth, I am Sananda. Today I want to bring you a very interesting subject, a subject that for many may seem silly, may seem completely unimportant, but which actually affects your life a lot: patience. What is patience? It's accepting to wait, it's accepting the other's time, it's accepting everything that's yet to come. I'd be here talking for a long time, but effectively, I'm going to comment based on who is trying to become or be patient. To talk about patience, I also have to talk about expectations, as they go hand in hand. When you want something, you want it at that moment. They would really like to be able to see or create it and live that moment, with the object of desire already created. It does not matter whether this object is material or immaterial. But you have to wait, and then comes the expectation. When will it come? When will it happen? When will I actually have this in my hands? And then, along with expectation, comes patience, or the lack thereof, of waiting for it, of sitting down and simply waiting. I have already commented here about concern and expectations, which also go hand in hand. In fact, these are feelings that mix, creating a huge snowball around something so small. So, you make a world inside your minds, you create a perfect world, you put each person in a little box, all well behaved, sitting in their little chairs, only doing what you want. This is the world that you create. And for material things, all there at hand in that moment, in today, in the now. This is the perfect world, where you don't have to wait a second for anything to happen. If you want something from those people, you will go to them and they will be readily available to provide you with what you want. So what is this world you created? A world of dolls, a world of robots, a world of manipulated people who do what you want, when you want. You all do this, because you have expectations about everything. So you want something and you create the expectation that it will serve you 100%, that it will be the solution to your problems, that it will fill a hole in your life. But when it arrives, what happens? That's not it. Because you created expectations, it wasn't the object that created it, it wasn't the person that created it, you created expectations. So the longer you wait, the more expectations you have and you become increasingly impatient, because things don't happen, things don't arrive, things don't get resolved and so on. So I would say dismantle this little world you created. People are not dolls, people are not robots, who act exactly how you want them to act. And this is manipulation, this is not love, it's very far from being love. It's a lack of respect, it's imposition. I could put many other adjectives here, because you idealized those people, that they could only do what you want them to do. So if they get up from their chair out of turn, you get irritated, you don't like it. Because that wasn't what you expected from her, you expected her to sit quietly in the chair and only move when you allowed her to. This is the feeling, and I can say that 100% of you do this. You have expectations regarding everything, you want the environment to be how you want it, not how it really is. So patience is the gift of waiting, but waiting without expectations. Because when you wait with expectations, you lose patience, you lose control. Because it didn't bring you exactly what you expected, it often brought exactly the opposite. And since you didn't realize that, how did you allow that person to be so contrary to what you wanted? Because you put her in that car seat. But she has a life of her own, she's not a doll, she's not a robot. So she does what she wants, not what you want her to do. So patience actually means waiting, knowing how to wait. The great wisdom of patience is knowing how to wait, without expectations. And be aware that everything can move from one extreme to another, everything can be completely contrary to what you imagined or be perfectly suited to what you wanted. All things are like this, everything you buy is like this, people are like this, you rarely have 100% satisfaction. Because you created expectations, you didn't have the patience to wait for what would come, and learn to understand how it works. As you had no expectations, the way it comes will satisfy you, there will be no problem, because you did not create anything. Now when you create, because this is so, that will not satisfy you, because there will be some point that will not be good for you. So I can say that patience also goes hand in hand with love, linked to love. The love of accepting what is, without wanting to change it. It's accepting that others do things you don't like, but it's their way, it's not you who will change it. If it is a child, you can even teach them with strong arguments that what they are doing is not good for them, nor for the whole. This is your role as a parent. But I can also tell you that not all children will listen, some are extremely rebellious and won't listen at all. And then you lose patience, that love of accepting that child as he is gone. You scream, you get angry, you get upset, because she didn't do what you wanted. So why not sit down and talk, explaining that when a person asks for something, they should analyze it a little, to what extent is the childishness of going against it. Because many do this, they are against it just for the sake of it, to irritate the other, because they know that the other will lose their patience. And why not show that person that when they want something and you don't do it, how will they feel? Use this argument, don't simply run out of patience because the other person didn't do what you wanted. Realize that everything is linked, patience, love, expectation, everything is tied together. But the main reason for losing patience is because things didn't go the way you wanted. Because you created that world, that perfect world in which everything happens as you imagined. But in real life it's not like that, people have desires, people have their own habits and character. People do what they want, and events are products of the environment. There may be unforeseen events, so what does your perfect world look like? You lose your patience, because you realize that that perfect world doesn't exist. So why create it? Why do you create this perfect world? Live in the here and now. Don't have expectations, don't dream about a future that probably won't come. I would say that dreaming is good, but as long as the dream does not create expectations. You can emanate a good feeling to the universe, have that feeling of having something that you really want, play for the universe and trust. But don't create expectations, because expectations lead to disappointment. Because you asked for it and it didn't happen. It was the moment, you deserve it, did you sow to reap that? You don't ask yourself these questions when you ask, but you create expectations and lose patience because it doesn't happen. So why not just dream, and send it to the universe? He finished. Without expectations. You were used to planning, creating the future. I wouldn't say you're totally wrong, but you always have to be ready for surprises, for the unforeseen. And don't see surprises and unforeseen events as the end of the world. Oh! Of course, it's the end of that world you created. So you can plan, but leave it to the universe, so that everything happens as it should. And live, day by day until that moment comes. But don't create expectations, don't be anxious about that moment. Don't lose patience, because anything can happen. The future is totally changeable. A decision today changes an entire future. So plan, very well, you can plan. Plan that wonderful trip, which has everything to be planned in advance, so that everything goes well, very well, but don't create expectations. Live day by day, and each milestone for that journey that is reached, be grateful, so far so good, so far everything is going as we planned. Gratitude. And when the day comes and everything goes as planned, continue to be grateful. Do not think that the universe conspired and did nothing more than oblige him to fulfill your request and your planning. The great wisdom is to live in the here and now, and especially not to expect anything. Don't mold anyone into your own way, because people are not the way you want them to be. There are very intelligent people, totally insensitive, totally arrogant, who all the intelligence they have has not opened their hearts. They are extremely outside the context of the emanation of love. But there are those who are not so intelligent, life has not allowed them to be cultured, but they have a huge heart, and that if you say something, everything is fine. They no longer have expectations, they have learned to live in the here and now. So these are two extremes, and you have to deal with these extremes in the middle. There are people of all kinds, there are people who understand a problem, there are people who don't understand a problem. There are people who continue to think that everyone has to do what they want. So, how will you shape yourself? With expectations? No, you will live every moment, you will live every minute, you will live with every person that appears, with every type of person that appears. Don't think that you are being punished for something because difficult people to deal with appear in your life. I would say it could even be a lesson, the lesson of patience, the lesson of respecting others, of seeing others as they are, not as you want them to be. This is a lesson, and I guarantee you, when you learn to live without expectations, being patient, but not patience with the future, patience with the here and now. So who lives in the here and now, why have patience? You are living in the here and now, whoever is patient is because he waits. And if you live in the here and now, you don't have patience, you have to live, you have to be there in that moment, living that process, that meeting, that project, it doesn't matter. So patience is for those who wait. So don't wait, live in the moment, without expectations, without creating a perfect world around you. Live in the moment and accept each person as they are, accept situations that happen as they are. There's no point in shouting. When the milk spills, there is no way to get it back into the container. Isn't that a saying you guys say? When things happen, they become the past. So why shout, why complain? Act with love, act without expectations, act in the here and now. Learn to live this way and you will see that patience will go away because you will no longer wait for anything. And whoever doesn't wait for me doesn't need to be patient.